Let's talk a little bit about Pillman, Sullivan, the Bookerman moment, because this is what I wanted to give a little bit of extra time to on this show. The match was supposed to be, Arn, a brutal strap match. The Con were the only one was to say, I respect you. Kevin Sullivan enters first with Jimmy Hart. Then Pillman walks out. And before they even get tied up, Pillman grabs the mic and suddenly says, I respect you, Booker man, and walks right out of the ring. They were messing around, had a few little exchanges, and then he does that. No one knows what's going on. The match is suddenly over. It's like 53 seconds. Then you come down wearing a pair of khaki shorts. Okay. No, not boots, not ring boots. You're in street clothes. You jump in and you keep this segment alive. You and Sullivan go at it in an impromptu continuation. And then here comes Ric Flair. He storms out, grabs a mic, tells you both to stop. He reminds you, now remember what we've talked about, two heel groups feuding, that you're supposed to be united against Hogan and Savage. And the segment ends with you and Sullivan shaking hands. And this is, by the way, a moment that's lived on for decades. So what's going through your head? Talk to us about this moment when you're in the back. I mean, obviously, Pillman must have caught everybody off guard. Just walk us through what you remember from this whole situation, please.
Well, let me just say again, nobody knew whether Brian was working us, working the fans, working himself, or if this was a straight shoot, we have a lunatic running around the company just creating chaos. You never really knew. But what I did know is we had a pay-per-view feature match that never happened. Pillman just ran out of the building. And I just remember somebody coming back through there. I forget who even was in charge or who the boss was. They just said, we got to have a match. We got to have a match. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I said, I'll take it. I felt responsible for Pillman. I was one of the proponents of making him a horseman. I had no idea he was going to be this nutcase that we had on our hands. So in my polo shorts and walking boots, no way to even stretch out, no time to stretch out, took off my shirt, went to the ring and had a fight. Because the one thing in the back of my mind is if we don't give them something, and something pretty decent, we are screwing our fans who have paid pay-per-view prices for what we got going on here. So that's how that ended up. And fighting in mountain climbing boots and polo shorts is not ideal. Flair came down, got involved. It turned in just to be a big, wild throwaway. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, you still don't know. I went to try to find Pillman. He had powdered, got his bag and went right out the back door, got in his car and left.
What's the communication like? Do you remember when you got in there, like talking to Sullivan, like, hey, what are we doing here?
He knew.
So he knows that you're just coming out to like just salvage it and let's just wrestle around and we'll figure out kind of the finish. Or did you guys know, hey, were you like, hey, Flair's coming out, or did you even know Flair was coming out?
I didn't even know Flair was coming out. I was just trying to patch a hole. Yeah, I mean, it's in those days you had to think on your feet.
Yeah.
And you're trying to put a big Band-Aid on a big gaping wound on a show that people were spending $49 for.
Sure. Yeah.
That's, the fans, and giving the fans something more than what they actually paid for at the end of live events and all that. Pleasing the fans is what this business has always been about. And they know when you go the extra mile for them. Sometimes things aren't the way they've been discussed or prepared or thought about or talked about in the back. It would just become something else. And you don't always have to sit down and have everything mapped out. Think on your feet, make sure it applies to what you got going on TV. And sometimes you just wing it.
And it seemed like too, Flair obviously came out and kind of brought everybody together and said, hey, our focus is against Hogan. And it's like the storylines almost just changed right there in the ring. Why are we fighting each other? We need to be focused on Hogan. Okay, I guess, Flair's obviously working on, if someone's talking to him about creative, he's involved in creative. They know that was ultimately the plan, but that's all figured out. And then he communicates it as part of this match. Wild to me that it's all done on the fly.
Yep. And in those days, if you could be trusted and you were a veteran and you knew what you were doing out there, some things change sometimes.
Well, I'm glad that you still have a pretty good memory of how that all went down. There's a lot of people in the comments that are just saying, Arn, that's why you're one of the most respected, classiest people. CG, Darth says you're the GOAT. And just said, CG just said, just quick thinking. I'm not sure people could do that today. Definition of a team player. So, and that's a great point, because I think we've become so structured, scripted, to be able to have that autonomy and the ability. It's more the ability to come down and wing it like that and stay within the guardrails of the story and make sense of it all. Great job.
Thank you. And that's the way the business is supposed to be. You got to have leadership out there. You got to remember what story you're telling. And, if everything changes from a mechanics standpoint in a match, you come out, let's just say I'm a horseman, I'm a hardcore heel. I go into the ring and I got a match with somebody and they're just cheering me. No matter what I do, the more nasty stuff I do, the more they cheer for me. When you have something like that, you just have to completely turn it around and just give them what they're going with. You just don't keep butting your head against the wall. If you're who they like that night, the other guy over there that's babyface is just going to have to hold his nose and get through it, because they're telling us what they want. Why we're not going to listen to them? That's foolish.
Andrew makes a great point in the chat. He says this was largely the first time for so many to see something in the show go sideways. This is before the Montreal screw job, before social media existed. I mean, so as fans, we're like, what's going on? But we could tell something crazy just went on that wasn't supposed to.
And it was uncomfortable. And you're asking the guy sitting next to you, what did we just see? And who I didn't know. Kevin didn't know what just happened. The only one that will know is Pillman, and he wasn't in the building.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kevin Sullivan. I was watching the segment thinking, man, I would have loved to ask him what he was thinking doing this. For those that don't know, I got to do a show with him for a little while, Tuesdays with the Taskmaster, and I've grown to love that man. So just wanted to say that about Kevin Sullivan.